Alright everybody, welcome back to another Xvault gaming video. Xvault here, and yes, there's just so much salt, we can't not do a couple a week at this point. Trying to throw in some other information as well throughout the week, but the fact that this, salt is exuding so far, so much, all due to Final Fantasy VII Rebirth alone. Helldivers 2 wasn't bad enough, but we're still resorting back to how salty Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is truly making the Xbox community. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and jump to it. Alright, so like I was saying, what we do is we have some more examples of extreme salt, trying to make Xbox even relevant again with their first-party games heading to other platforms. You name it, it's all just this conglomerate globe of making sense, everybody chasing their own tail, you name it. So let's just start off again with one of our favorites here, that being Colt Eastwood himself, stating, "One thing is certain, they all want Xbox games." No, we don't. We don't care. Haven't been asking for them, haven't been begging for them, haven't said a word about anything that was exclusive over in the Xbox, ecosystem. We haven't been wanting it. Now, your excuse is going to be, it's a lose-lose situation. Sea of Thieves is being a very high pre-ordered item, one of the most pre-ordered item currently on the PlayStation ecosystem. Now, there's two ways about it. It's either A, we're actually supporting the games that you guys don't support because of a Game Pass or continued support past Game Pass, and that's a bad thing for you guys. Or you're going to turn it around and be like, see, your PlayStation ecosystem is dead, that's why you want our games. No. Helldivers 2, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Rise of the Ronin, Stellar Blade, you name it, there's so many games. We're still getting Dragon's Dogma 2, all that stuff, which we'll go over here in a little bit as well. There's all this stuff, so you can't spin it. You're going to try. It's a lose-lose whether, what I'm saying in that aspect is what's it going to take for them to admit we don't support our games over on Xbox, but PlayStation supports games. Either way you look at it, you guys are bone dry and you're upset. Mostly talking to the Xbox fanboys that can't admit this stuff. Let's continue. Titanfall launched 10 years ago on Xbox from Jamie Moran. It was a new IP. It innovated in the multiplayer space. Over 10 million copies sold. There's truly nothing like that original Titanfall multiplayer. Now, let's take this apart real quick here. We know Titanfall, the series so far, Titanfall 1 and Titanfall 2, both phenomenal games. I 100% agree that this game is phenomenal. One of my favorite games out there, because it is just that good. However, let's look a little bit deeper here, because Jamie Moran is not going to sit there and just praise something without a backhanded compliment to PlayStation. Why are we focusing on Titanfall? Not Titanfall 2, which, in my opinion, and yes, I did play both, and in most people's opinion, the better game and better multiplayer game than opposed to Titanfall 1. Why is that the case, though? Why is he focusing on Titanfall 1? Wow, is it because Titanfall 1 wasn't available on PlayStation? So that's what we got to focus on. Not only an older game, but we're bringing up the fact that, remember guys, this is still technically Xbox ecosystem exclusive. So this is why this one's better. It's one of the best. We won't even mention Titanfall 2, which is a travesty. Because the campaign in Titanfall 2 was phenomenal. Go take a seat, dude. You're such a salty batch, it's not even funny. Let's continue. He has another one we have to focus on here, Jamie Moran. There hasn't been a mainline Final Fantasy title on Xbox since 2016. If Final Fantasy 16 does come to Xbox, which it should, there's a big audience ready. Plus, Square said more are coming. So let's continue to go down this path, shall we, Jamie Moran? There hasn't been a mainline Final Fantasy title on Xbox since 2016. You're right about that. That's the one truth to it. If Final Fantasy 16 does come to Xbox, which it should, why? You guys don't buy it. You do not buy it. Like my previous videos stated and had shown, you guys don't buy Final Fantasy games and hardly touch the JRPG genre. I know there are some out there of you that do, and that's fine and that's great, and I implore you to do so. but you don't as a whole. You're speaking to a bare wall. You're watching paint dry and talking to that paint drying on the wall. You're not going to get the type of sales on Xbox or anything that matters. That's why it's not going that direction. It isn't because of just a deal. The deal was made because they knew they weren't going to get that deal. There's a big audience ready. Like I said, no, there's not. Plus, Square said there are more coming. No. They said there are more Final Fantasy games coming. That doesn't mean Final Fantasy 16, and that sure as heck doesn't mean Final Fantasy 7 Remake, Rebirth, the whole trilogy. It doesn't mean you're getting anything else in particular. You could be getting some older ones, some other remasters, some other ports that may not already be there. They're coming. Who knows when and what they are? You don't know. So you're speculating, hoping, crossing your fingers. Stop spreading misinformation and mishype to your community. That's what sends everybody into a frenzy, you idiots. Let's continue. Richard Hogue, he's definitely somebody that we should listen to, who is just all the time as part of the Xbox community and part of the whole Activision Blizzard whole back and forth court ordeal that's been happening for a couple years, right? So he says, okay, so I love Final Fantasy and I love Final Fantasy 7 and a remake. But Rebirth is really suffering from having near zero plot momentum 40 plus hours in. Other games would not be getting the, quote, kid gloves that Rebirth is, I don't think. I don't think. First of all, who talks like that? If you're so well versed and educated, who talks like that? I don't think. What? That pretty much negates everything you just said, just an FYI. Great world, maybe not so great game. Is that right? Is that why critically acclaimed across Metacritic and other reviewers, this now has the highest, if not second highest, Final Fantasy rating of all time? Just sitting behind Final Fantasy IX, if not in front of it at this point, last I checked. But it's a great world, but not a great game. So you're salty that something that's even better than Remake, coming from somebody that completed both, and many others that completed both, and everybody's stating that Rebirth is twice the game that Remake is, but it's a great world, but maybe not a great game. No, you're just a salty batch yourself, Hogue. That's why you block everybody that disagrees with you on the line and any other social community that you're a part of, because you are pro Xbox and you can't give credit where credit is due. So you have to give that slight, well, here's my 2 cents. Remake's really good. I enjoyed it. So a game that's twice as good as a whole, one of the best mind-blowing Final Fantasies in a long, long time. And it's just maybe not such a great game. No, what's not great is your outlook on gaming, and you have lost pretty much all credibility when it comes to that because you're a salty batch. So let's continue. As it shows below that, it does show even Jez, even the Xbox shield Jez. Interesting take. Because he knows he's full of shit. He knows it. Even the shield Jez knows that this is, such a freaking ridiculous statement that it's just, come on, man. Even he had to kind of drop and be like, oh, all right. That's when you know it's bad. That's when you know it's bad, right? Oh, man. So the crazy part here, too. So, again, let's make Xbox relevant here. Wario64 doing his thing, doing awesome. Always showing the deals, always showing news. Love it. Give him a follow. Showing about Grandia 1 and 2, and it has trophies and all that stuff. So it was leaked. It was announced just recently at the time of the recording that, of course, this is coming to current next-gen consoles, all that stuff, right? And that's great. And it's an HD remaster, as you can see. But Estal has to chime in here. Also on Xbox. Hello, over here. Don't forget about Xbox. It's over there, too. Okay. Like, how pathetic is this? What schoolyard crap is this? That's hilarious. I saw this. It, beamed off the page to me. And I'm like, oh, my gosh. Are you serious right now? Don't forget it's on... Clearly, they're going to understand and know this. Don't forget about us over here. If you guys were in a good place, you wouldn't even have to do that. You wouldn't have to feel so defensive. You wouldn't have to say look over here. I find that really hilarious. Let's continue, though. Visual fidelity. Not releasing Rise of Ronin, this is a new one coming out, like I said, this month, on Xbox is a mistake. PlayStation gamers have Ghost of Tsushima. Xbox does not have a Ghost of Tsushima equivalent. Many PlayStation gamers have called ROR, Rise of Ronin, a cheap Ghost of Tsushima knockoff. Xbox gamers would have bought this day one. Xbox fans have always supported Team Ninja. Okay. What's funny, and I wish I had time to have clipped this, but there's another user on social media, KJN, give him a follow, great gamer, great collector. He found his username on Xbox, and it has shown that he hasn't even played halfway through any Team Ninja game at all. So the hypocrisy, they don't play games, it's just a jealousy thing that they want over there. They don't play the games. Most of these shills, not speaking to every single Xbox fan out there, I'm quoting Fanboys. I know a lot of you get upset out there when I say Xbox community and Xbox fanboys. If you find yourself included in that, pull yourself out of that loop. If you're playing those games, this is not directed at you. This isn't talking about any of the Xbox fans. Great job. Thanks for playing. You're doing phenomenal. That's what a gamer should do. Great job. Talking to the ones that cap and shill like the ones here and above and the ones that I mentioned in these videos. But let's continue here. Cold Eastwood back at it again, and just recently, of course. So Assassin's Creed Odyssey is one of the best looking open world games, and it's not even close. Let's focus for a second on the not even close part. Horizon Forbidden West would like to say hello. Also, I think Horizon Zero Dawn looks better than this. God of War Ragnarok, which is semi-open world, clearly looks better than this. There's a lot of open world games that look better than this, or at least on par. So the part I'm focusing on is it's not even close. No, there's a lot that's close. You're using this because you want to, again, and you're a self-proclaimed now that you're mainly playing on PC. You're not even playing on your Xbox, but that's what you're going to tout when you're even talking about if you're a PC gamer. You're going to tout Odyssey as one of the best looking out there. And I do agree, it is a good looking game, especially for the time frame it came out and how it stacks up today. I think it's a good game, overly bloated, like a lot of the open world games do typically have going negatively for them, but it's still a good game and it looks good. I will give you that. But when it's not even close, what are you smoking? What are you taking? What delusion are you in? And what are you touting here? If you're playing both Xbox and PC now mainly, and mainly again PC, I guarantee you there's a ton of different games on PC that look a lot better and sharper than Assassin's Creed Odyssey. This is not the post. This is not it. You look like a clown, but are we surprised that you take yourself this less seriously, and the fact that you put on that clown nose when you get ready every day in the makeup and then start putting on the paint? That's you to a T. Get out of here. You have no credibility. You're a joke. Now, what I want to end this video with is a couple of videos here. I know it's going to make a little bit longer, but bear with it. These are great videos. Let's start with them, and then I'll go over them after they're done. First one going right here.
Numbers matter to anyone that watches this industry. All you got to do is look at MLB The Show, which is being played 6 times more than any Sony player. That should tell you something. Final Fantasy VII Remake, if it would have been released on both consoles, I guarantee would have sold better on Xbox. And you know how I know that? More people right now are playing Destiny on Xbox than on PlayStation. That's a fact.
All right. This has to be my favorite of the other two I'm going to show you here. What do we have to say to this? These guys in this panel are so delusional that they truly think that Final Fantasy VII Rebirth and Remake and all that would sell just as much on the Xbox console. with everything stated, with Game Pass, with everything else that has been proven factually, data, statistically, all that stuff, shows that's not the case due to Game Pass alone. You think JRPGs are going to perform better on Xbox than the PlayStation or even Nintendo systems? Absolutely not. You're insane. And then you want to follow up with the fact that Destiny is played more on Xbox? Last I checked, that was nowhere near the case because there's just more end users on PlayStation globally. So that's incorrect. Maybe if you stated if that's in a certain state or maybe in a certain country, maybe it is. I haven't looked into it that far, but odds are you're completely incorrect. You're already delusional with the first part, but you want us to believe you about even bringing up Destiny, and that's your fallback number there, is that they're playing more on Xbox? That's not a RPG, a JRPG at that? What? These guys are absolutely bonkers. That one just gets me the most, but that being said, let's go over to another video here. We have Risk It, who cries in his car about Xbox's state of being. Literally, I'm not making this up. Cries in his car about stuff, but he has some insider information. Take a look.
Because I'm not throwing anyone under the bus here. And I've kept this under my hat for quite some time. But I've now confirmed this with 4 separate sources. I haven't seen any documentation or banners that would prove it, but I have confirmed it with 4 separate sources that also say the same thing. So there is a Hellblade 2 port for PlayStation.
That's bullshit.
That's
like,
what
I don't mean it's not true. I just mean that's ridiculous. That's a dumb thing.
I really think what they're going to do is that they've tested the waters slightly, and I think they're going to get, if it's not Phil, I think they're going to get further pushed to try something, and I think Hellblade and Starfield will be the 2 games that they send over to either finalize we're not doing this or finalize we are going to do this.
If they do those 2 games, in my opinion, they might as well not have an Xbox. Honestly, that's just my opinion. Like a console. It's ridiculous, man. Those kind of games, you are doing more damage to your platform than the money you gain from having them on other platforms. I get the live service stuff, but those single player games, nah, man, they've got to be your big carrots that you try to get people to come into your ecosystem for. I just think that it's so frustrating. They were so close to finally being there, to finally realize the potential of the platform, and then it's disappointing, man. Anyway.
Yeah, look, it is disappointing. I've had plenty of time to sit with it and get right with it. So, and the what I came to is that, you know, I'm always going to be Xbox, and that's fine. And, you know, that port may never see the light of day and things may change. But knowing that port exists, and knowing that a Starfield port exists, it's pretty concerning, which is why I've not been like, there's a lot of people, and look, there's going to be a lot of people that go like, oh, you're full of shit. And that's fine. But I know what I know. And I obviously operate with the knowledge. You operate differently with the knowledge that you have, right? So we've seen a lot of people in the last, you know, since the podcast going, it's only 4. Well, it's not only 4 for me. For me, it's 6, and 2 of them are huge. And I'm not sure how the community will react to that. And look, to be honest with you, I'm only saying it today because, you know, we've got the intimate chat happening. We don't have mass amounts of people in, and it probably won't even get out. So that, but I definitely wanted to talk about it. So if that's the case, right, it didn't make sense to send the first 4, if that's the case, though, because you would send your biggest, your best and your brightest and see how they do. And I still don't think that they'll do well. I just don't think that the games that Xbox have appeal to that audience. And I do think they're different audiences. I do think there's a bit of crossover. I think they're different audiences. And
All right, so clearly they're upset at the fact that there's possibilities that we already know that Starfield and other games are probably going to make their way over to PlayStation, if not elsewhere, if at all possible. You know, and Jez did come out recently after this was posted, by the way, and he did come out and state, Jez from Windows Central, if you're unaware that I mentioned before, did state that he has heard absolutely nothing from any of his sources and said there are not any ports being active or actively worked on, is what he said. Now, that being said, he also stated not too long ago that there was absolutely no first-party games being ported over to PlayStation at all. Not a single one. And then we ended up getting Sea of Thieves, Hi-Fi Rush, Pentiment, and on and on and on, Grounded, all that stuff. So are we to believe Jez? Or are we to believe Risk It? Do they really even have sources? Are the sources accurate? We don't know. They're all in this like back and forth, half Civil War stuff going on with each other. It's hilarious to see and witness. But who's to say? I'm not going to say Risk It's right. I'm not going to say Jez is right. We don't know until we hear, but odds are it's probably going to happen, whether Risk It's full of crap or not. Jez knows this. Eventually it's going to happen. Let's go on to the last video here. This is in regards to the Xbox Series S, and I think there's some great statements here, great knowledge on this, and some actual facts. So here you go.
I also think people are missing how weak the Series S is. Like, you know, what is it? I think I saw Kepler on Twitter like go, that's 20 RDNA 2 compute units. And I'm like, yeah, running at half the clock speed of every other APU you can get right now out of AMD. It's the Series S runs at low clock speeds. It's only 4 baby teraflops, and they're 4 teraflops. So they split 10 gigabyte memory system that I looked it up. You know, the RTX 2050 seems to outperform the Series S and Assassin's Creed Valhalla. That was a launch game running 720p 60 from 2020. So when I compare this to a Series S, number one, I say ballpark, not equal in all ways. The Series S will definitely just be better at some things. And number two, there's not a compliment. The Series S sucks, guys. Like the Series S is weaker than a 6500 XT and an RTX 2050. And you guys all hate those cards. So
I could see the fact that that Microsoft is forcing this level of performance to still be relevant. It could be beneficial to Nintendo, though. But I will say it. I think Microsoft is forcing it to be relevant because the Series S just happens to be the most successful console Microsoft is currently selling.
If the Switch 2 gets 12 gigabytes of RAM, I think that might make the Series S age even worse faster. Because everyone, all these developers are going to go, dude, this Xbox doesn't sell a third the consoles of Nintendo, and now Nintendo has more RAM than the Series S. I don't know. Some games might age better on Nintendo. This might be like devs going to Microsoft, dude. Even weak-ass Nintendo has more RAM than your console, dude. And
all right, so I mean, if you were unaware or kind of on the fence or thought that the Series S was worth it or a good strategy for Xbox, here you have it. They broke it down. It really is a potato. When you have those memes and you have, you know, PlayStation fanboys poking fun, calling it a Series potato, it kind of is. It kind of is. This gentleman explains that and why. And, you know, again, we go back and we understand why they wanted the 2 SKUs. I think they thought they could get into a cheaper market entry level stuff, and especially during COVID, they didn't expect COVID to happen, but it did. That should have gave it the jump it needed. It didn't, and now they have to compensate to match those power levels for a lot of the games. Hence why you don't get like Baldur's Gate 3 was delayed a little bit because they couldn't get co-op to work on it, offline co-op or local co-op. All that stuff. And you know, it's taking a hit one way or the other, and it's taking resources and time, money, and effort, and on and on and on. There you have it. Just wanted to throw out a little tidbit in there. I know this makes the video a little bit longer, but there's just so much goodness to share with y'all, and I don't want to deprive anybody of having fun there and looking at it through the lens of WTF, what is going on here? The delusion never ends. So that being said, I'm going to give the rest of your day back to you, everybody. I appreciate you sticking through the entirety of the video. If you did, thank you so much. Your support's amazing. At this time of recording, 1,451. That's right, 1,000 451 subscribers out of that 1,500 goal. So we are literally at 49 subs away from hitting that goal. Thank you all so much. Your support means the world to me. It really does. Don't forget to like, comment, help out that algorithm. If you haven't already, definitely consider subscribing, helping out a small content creator like myself. That being said, just remember, don't be a salty batch. Take care.